Oh my god, you all saw Endgame, right? Oh boy. Starting off right away with Hawkeye's family disappearing and then going into Captain Marvel rescuing Tony Stark and Nebula, and then in the scene right after that where they kill Thanos immediately, realizing that they failed and they can never bring everybody back. And of course Ant-Man comes back to save the day and they gotta get everybody back together, but Thor is fat now and he's all discombobulated, but they get him and they do go back in time to the first Avengers movie, to Thor the Dark World. Didn't see that coming either, I bet. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy timeline. This video that I made where I predict who dies can just get thrown out the window, and I'm glad I was wrong. That shot in the big battle of all the women Avengers lining up, AV Club didn't like it, but my wife did, and I think that's really all that matters. Captain America passing the shield to Falcon because he's an old man now, just feels. All of them, every single one. Man, what a movie. Now what? Avengers Endgame has officially hit theaters, and just like that, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has come to an end. Except, this isn't really the end. While yes, this is the ending for this particular era of the MCU, it's going to continue for at least the foreseeable future. I mean, we are getting a brand new Tom Holland Spider-Man movie in like 3 months. Nick Fury and Maria Hill are also going to be in it, so this universe is continuing, but we'll come back to Spider-Man Far From Home in a little bit. It's important to look at Avengers Endgame not as the last movie in a series, but as the season finale of a TV show. It is coming back, it got renewed for another season, but they're going to take it in a new direction, and the ongoing storyline of the Infinity Stones, and by extension, the original Avengers, that is over. I mean, Captain America, Black Widow, and Iron Man, they got pretty definitive endings, if you ask me. And sure, there's a possibility of them coming back. One of them definitely is coming back. This is definitely a new territory being charted for the MCU. Even though they kind of already been in this position. See, remember back to when they started this whole grand cinematic universe experiment? They started it with their lesser known characters. Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America were not as popular as Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, or the Hulk. Those characters were all owned by other movie studios. They couldn't use them, so they used the B team, so to speak. Iron Man wasn't really known to people outside of the comics. Thor wasn't really known to people outside of the comics. Captain America had some recognition to him, but by that point, he was considered too dated and old-fashioned to ever work in a modern movie. And yet, here we are. I bring this up because now Marvel is going to have to move forward with movies featuring characters that are even less well-known and popular now than the original Avengers were back when they started this whole thing. Sure, we are going to get sequels to movies that have already come out, but we're also going to get things like The Eternals and Shang-Chi. Are audiences going to accept those films as openly as they did everything else? And again, it's not like everybody from the original era is going away. A lot of them are going to stick around in the movies, and some even get their own TV shows on the upcoming Disney+. But the question of whether or not they'll stay in the realm of TV or they'll venture back into the movies remains to be seen at this point. But okay, what is exactly coming out? Can we figure out the future of the MCU based on the movies that they currently have announced, along with the Disney Plus shows they have announced, and what happened during the events of Avengers Endgame? Can these factors tell us what the future holds? Well, like I said earlier, we already have another MCU film coming out in July, Spider-Man Far From Home, to be released on July 2nd. This film is the actual end to Phase 3. Kevin Feige said so himself. How this comparatively smaller film is going to act as the ending to 11 years of epic storytelling is beyond me. This isn't like when Ant-Man was the end to Phase 2 after following Age of Ultron. That felt more like a traditional epilogue. Endgame felt like an actual ending to things. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not excited to see Far From Home. It looks like another great Spider-Man movie, and I'm pumped to see Mysterio's goofy ass on the big screen for once. It just feels like it's coming out at an odd time. Because you see, after Far From Home, Marvel doesn't really have another film scheduled to be released until around 2021. They're essentially taking all of next year off. And as far as I know, the films that they currently have on their docket don't have solid release dates. I almost feel like Far From Home would be better suited to come out in 2021 or even next year, act as a real fresh start to a new era of Marvel films rather than a palate cleanser for the old one. But it is what it is, and at least Spider-Man Far From Home is something of a known quantity. The same cast and crew from Homecoming is coming back for this one. What about the rest of the films though? Well, next we're expected to get the long anticipated solo Black Widow movie with Kate Shortland directing and Scarlett Johansson returning to the title role. This one's already shaping up to be pretty awesome. It's got a stacked cast. In addition to Scarlett Johansson, it's got Rachel Weisz, David Harbour, Florence Pugh, and it looks like it's going to be a prequel given what happened to Black Widow in the events of Endgame. And this is a chance to do something very different. It could be a nice change of pace for Marvel. A smaller, more espionage-focused film rather than the big-ass events that they usually put out. Now, if that doesn't sound like your cup of tea, don't worry, because Marvel can go right back into making big-ass event films with the Eternals, their first scheduled non-sequel or spin-off of Phase 4. That is, of course, if it actually does come out first. The Eternals is one of those weird cosmic Jack Kirby creations that is legitimately awesome to read, but is kind of batshit insane when you start to talk about it out loud. Basically, they're a more bonkers version of DC's The New Gods, also created by Jack Kirby. This sounds like it's going to be Marvel's next Guardians of the Galaxy, not just in terms of the fact that it's a weird-ass concept that they somehow made a hit movie out of, but the fact that it sounds like it's going to be the next big franchise within the cinematic universe, the next big team franchise specifically. Matthew and Ryan Fripo are writing the script, Chloe Zhao is directing, Angelina frickin' Jolie is playing Cersei officially, Camille Nanjiani and Ma Dong-seok are also in talks to join the cast, and word on the street is the Eternals will feature Marvel's first openly gay superhero. How about that? And speaking of first, there's also Shang-Chi on the schedule, which is supposed to be Marvel's first film with an Asian lead. Destin Daniel Cretton is directing from a script by David Callahan. No one has been cast as the lead yet, but this is definitely one to keep an eye on. I don't really know a whole lot about Shang-Chi offhand. My understanding is that he's basically Iron Fist, but with no superpowers and actually Asian. So hopefully this movie is just much better than the Iron Fist TV show. Maybe they can make it like an old school Jackie Chan film. We haven't gotten one of those in a while, and those are awesome. And then after that, it's all sequels, daddy-o, like Doctor Strange 2. Benny Cumberbatch is scheduled to come back, as is Rachel McAdams, Benedict Wong, and Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think I nailed that. Scott Derrickson is also scheduled to come back as director, and I just hope that there's a lot more weird in Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange 1, to me, just wasn't weird enough for this character, and I want to feel like I'm tripping balls in the theater. Black Panther 2. Everyone is coming back for this one as well, including Michael B. Jordan, probably. Ryan Coogler can't quit him. I'm sure it'll be just as good as the first. One thing I would like to see, though, is more action scenes in the urban areas of Wakanda. A lot of the action scenes in the first movie were either in the jungle or in South Korea. I think setting it in the streets of the urban areas of Wakanda would be pretty cool. It would be like an Afro-futuristic Blade Runner almost. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. This one is going to be very interesting for a number of reasons. For one thing, James Gunn is finally back, the way it should be. Second, as seen in Endgame, a lot has changed for the team. Thor is now a part of it for one thing, and second, Gamora is still dead. Yes, there was the 2014 Gamora hanging out at the end of the movie, but I don't think she stuck around. I think she went back to her timeline. At least she wasn't on the ship with the other Guardians. This all just seems like a radical change in direction from what James Gunn was setting up in the first two films. So I don't know if Thor is gonna stay on the team, if Gamora is gonna stay dead, if they're gonna try and find a way to revive her, or if Guardians 3 is gonna take place before the events of Infinity War. But suffice to say, after everything that's happened both in the MCU and IRL, this will definitely be the most interesting film to follow. We just have to wait for James Gunn to finish up with Suicide Squad before we can get him back directing the movie we actually want him to make. Now, that's actually it for officially announced and confirmed upcoming Marvel movies. There have been rumors about Captain Marvel 2, obviously, Ant-Man 3, and even a fourth Thor movie directed by Taika Waititi, but nothing solid, nothing actually announced from Marvel or Disney. Also, Wikipedia says there's a Blade reboot in the works with Wesley Snipes. Okay.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
But again, those are just the movies. We also have a bunch of TV shows coming out for the upcoming Disney Plus streaming service, and these TV shows are going to be in continuity with the films. And like, actually in continuity, not kind of in continuity like the Netflix Marvel shows. Shows like Loki and WandaVision. Now, both of these are interesting because both Loki and Vision are dead. They don't come back after everything gets fixed in Endgame. They died pre-snap, as it were. I think it's been said that Loki's show will actually be about him causing mischief throughout time, but his cameo in Endgame kind of opens the door for that to be continued on. He steals the Tesseract and bows back into Asgard. So I could see a show about his wacky adventures with the Tesseract in between films. As for WandaVision, well, this will either be about Wanda using her magic to distort reality so that she gets to live with Vision no matter what, or this will be about Wanda and Vision's secret rendezvous in between Civil War and Infinity War. For the record, this is how you spell rendezvous. Like, how? And then there's the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. This one looks awesome because both characters are awesome. I just think this is going to be a good time all around no matter what. Especially now that Steve Rogers has officially passed the shield to Sam Wilson, making him the new Captain America. Even though by all rights it should go to Bucky, but I'm not bitter. And of course, Hawkeye. Now, I think I said pretty much all I have to say on this show back in November when I made my video asking Disney to do a Disney Plus show about Hawkeye. It's nice to know somebody over there watches this channel. So as you can see, the Marvel Cinematic Universe clearly isn't over. It's just moving in a new direction. The old guard is moving on, possibly just staying on TV with Disney Plus, while the movies are going to focus on a new, younger, more diverse group of superheroes. Which is great. This is a great way to shake things up. By adding a spy movie, a kung fu movie, and whatever the hell Eternals is going to wind up being to their docket, Marvel has found a way to add some dreaded diversity, not just to their lineup, but to the summer movie landscape as a whole. It's an exciting time to be a fan of these films. We are genuinely in uncharted territory at this point. And Marvel doesn't have as many films on their docket as, say, DC does. But that's a good thing. Stay small, focus on a handful of films at a time, focus on making them the best films possible. And then, just maybe, when Marvel is ready to announce their films for Phase 5, we'll get that Fantastic Four movie that needs to happen. The X-Men can wait until Phase 6. We've had enough X-Men films. We don't nearly have enough good Fantastic Four movies, and it's time, damn it. But of course, what do you think about what Marvel has in store for us now that Endgame has been released and the status quo is all shook to pieces? Are you excited for the films that they have announced? Are you excited for the Disney Plus shows? What films do you want to see Marvel make in the future? Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet. As always, guys, don't forget to check out Wulff Den Apparel. Don't forget to check out the Amazon affiliate links in the description below. And don't forget that we have new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern is always Wulff Den Live. So subscribe to see all of that, like this video, and share with a friend who doesn't know that the MCU is going to continue and will be surprised to know that they got a lot more films and TV shows ready to go. Just make sure that they've seen Endgame because I spoil it in the first 5 seconds of this video. I did put a timer, so they should know it's coming. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.